Spooky season is upon us. And what better way to celebrate that than to explore some of the creepiest Easter eggs in all of World of Warcraft? These are by no means all of the spooky Easter eggs, but these are just some of my favorites. So let's start with Sweeney Todd's Razor. So this little Easter egg is found in the Stormwind Barber shop. It's a pretty obvious nod to the demon barber of Fleet Street himself. Seems like an innocent razor at first, but then you notice the multiple skeletons hidden under the floorboards. There's not a lot else going on here, but almost as spooky is the fact that the bookcases are exactly the same backwards and forwards. Next up are the Karazhan Catacombs. Ignoring the fact that I forgot corpse running was a thing, so I had to go back later and get footage, this one is actually pretty terrifying. It's full of skeletons. Why is it full of skeletons? I have no idea. The name Catacombs would imply that this is a place of burial, but there are no signs that this place was ever used for that purpose. You know, aside from all the skeletons. There are also caved-in passages, so I guess it's possible that there was more to this area at one time. The spookier section of this, though, is that it's the main hideout of the Dark Riders, a former band of merchants turned relic hunters by Medivh, you know, back when he was living here. This area is full of treasures from all over Azeroth, ranging from Titan artifacts to Twilight Hammer ritual items and many things in between. Corpse running here does not grant you any interactions with the Dark Riders, but they are featured quite heavily in the Druid Moonkin artifact acquisition quest. So check that out if you're interested in seeing more of that in game. Next up on the list is Shadowfang Keep, one of my favorite classic dungeons and an original home to Arugal, aka the dude who brought Worgen to Azeroth. This keep is a rundown mess of corpses and destruction, and oh boy is it just glorious and a creepy dungeon. Its original iteration was the headquarters of the Worgen leader Arugal, like I said. Driven mad by grief at the destruction he had wrought by summoning the Worgen into the world, he held up here after its original owner and second boss of the dungeon, Baron Silverlane, was killed by, you know, the Worgen that he summoned. It's actually kind of a messed up story that we can get into in another video if you'd like, so just comment that down below if you want to see that. Anyway, the dungeon was reopened in the Cataclysm expansion to tell a completely different tale as the Worgen of Gilneas sought to remove this new Lord of Shadowfang Keep, Lord Vincent Godfrey. Also, if you're enjoying the video so far, please consider hitting that subscribe button and doing the YouTube things. It helps me out a ton and lets me know you want to see more of these videos. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this is a quick one, but just a quick leap north, and we can see the remnants of Arthas's deposition of his father, King Tanaris, still lingering in the ruins of Lordaeron. In the hall leading to the Lordaeron throne room, we can see flower petals that were thrown down on Arthas and his company as they returned from Northrend. And on the floor, you can still see the blood stains from where Tanaris' crown fell after Arthas, murdered him. This in itself isn't that creepy, I suppose, but a neat little detail that I didn't notice for years, even though my main character was undead. Next up, an even shorter jump up to the north to the Scarlet Monastery. This whole place is creepy and rests in the undead starting zone, so, bonus points. Outside, we set the mood with a few guys hanging from trees. Were they forsaken or just people that disagreed with the Scarlet Crusade? I don't know, but it's creepy regardless. Heading into the Scarlet Graveyard, we can also see the cruelty of the Scarlet Crusade with an Easter egg, where you'll see High Inquisitor Fairbanks hidden in a secret room. Again, another story that we can deep dive into, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments. Okay, so let's go for a total change of scenery here. The next one takes us to Gadgetzan as we follow the footsteps of a couple of ill-fated expeditions. The footprints all set out from Gadgetzan across the vast desert of Tanaris. The first pair heads off east and eventually disappears. It's unclear what happens to those unfortunate travelers, but due to the proximity to Zul'Farrak and the troll territories nearby, I think we can draw some rather unfortunate conclusions. Next, there is a party that sets out, seemingly on their way to an ogre camp to the south. I don't know why you'd want to go there, but I don't know. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to point it out, okay? Anyway, everything seems okay, but at first, we soon find the corpse of a pack animal and several clay jugs in the sand. Nearby are the corpses of 3 well-armed travelers, or maybe raiders, I don't know. What happened to this party is uncertain, but only 2 continued onward. Eventually, we find the corpse of another traveler who appears to be a Tauren, killed by the elements, or perhaps cannibalism. The last traveler continued onward, but also fell just shy of reaching what I assume is his destination. Unfortunately, if they were able to get just a little bit further, they would have hit the ogre's aggro radius, and maybe they would have been brought some water. Okay, so you knew we'd be coming to this one eventually, right? But I bet you probably wouldn't guess why. Or maybe you would. I don't know. You do you. So we're heading right over to Icecrown Citadel, which actually holds a secret that's even lower than the drop chance for Invincible's reigns. That's right. You may not have ever noticed, but there's a little, well, semi-secret area right behind the stairs leading up to Icecrown Citadel. And in the center of that, a giant hole. Surely you'd die if you jumped down there, right? Wrong! There's actually a whole cave down here that's somehow better lit than the entire zone above it. And it's full of old god baddies. Why? Well, hang on, because we have one more thing to take a look at. Just north of here, there's a Serenite quarry that has a pretty mysterious pool in the center. And inside of that, well, this thing. What is it? I have no clue, but it's old goddy, and that makes it creepy. We know the bodies of old gods can stretch for huge distances underground, so it seems pretty reasonable to assume that this is some part of Yogg-Saron's body, especially considering that Serenite is the black blood of Yogg-Saron. Also, I played for All of Wrath and only found it this last week, so that wins some spooky secret points in my book. Last on this list is the only one that actually makes my heart skip a beat and my breath kind of stall a little bit. Off the coast of northern Vol'dun is a secret little Easter egg where you can hang out in an underwater Tortollan bar. But just past that is a huge drop off and, well, this. Now I'll admit, the deep dread I feel every time is mostly due with a little thing called thalassophobia, but this thing is pretty terrifying. I purposely took a druid so I could swim up to it and see what would happen. And, well, there wasn't really much, unfortunately, but it is still really creepy. So if you'd like to see that, it's located right here. I highly recommend checking it out in person. And all right, so I said the last one was the last one, but this is the real last one, okay? Now, this one is not so much a creepy thing, hence why I didn't include it in the proper list, but it's a creepy zone. I couldn't really find any standout one thing in Drustvar that stood out as a whole lot creepier than anything else, but this zone is basically tailor-made for Halloween, okay? I unfortunately never quested here because I played Horde back at the time when BFA was a thing, but it is, without a doubt, one of my favorite zones in the entire game. The art, the characters, the dungeon, and especially the music hit so well. I just had to include it in the list. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my list of creepiest things in World of Warcraft. What did I leave out that you wished was on the list? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button so I know you like the video and I should make more. All right. Have a happy Halloween, everybody.